Is this heaven?
No, it's a podcast. Welcome to the Field of Geeks podcast.
Hello and welcome to Field of Geeks, episode 85. We are your hosts. I'm Josh.
I'm Steve.
It's been a while.
Been a couple days.
Yeah. Apologies for getting Last Jedi review to everyone late. We'll be doing that in this show, so that's great. You know, it gave us enough time to see it twice, so that was helpful.
Exactly.
It's kind of caused some controversy, maybe?
Yeah, I hear some people are complaining here and there, just very small little complaints, cinematography, you know, just nothing big at all.
No, not at all. Star Wars fans versus Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
That's a battle. You do anything fun for the holiday?
You know, went to my parents' house and, you know, daughter's back from school and stuff, so it was pretty low-key and, you know, relaxing, but, nothing too crazy, not a huge family get together or anything like that. Sure. It was just nice. And I had some extra time off from work. And so that was,
always needed,
and appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah. And never enough.
Right.
So, but it was good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty well. I really, had a good time. You know, I got a little cold, so that sucked, but that was, you know, can't really complain too much.
Yeah.
I got to see one of my favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Vacation.
Oh, nice.
On the big screen. So, yeah, we went there and saw that. It was like only $5 to see it, but it was really cool to see a whole audience.
Oh, yeah.
With you, and such a good movie. Chevy Chase, talented guy, but I heard he's not the best guy in real life,
right,
so it kind of is a turnoff. But, you know, I was like kind of in the spirit of watching the vacation movies after that, and just watched like a reel on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, I'm all right. Cause they actually did a Christmas Vacation too.
Yeah.
Cousin Eddie's Christmas Vacation.
Oh boy.
Or something. It was terrible. It was a TV movie too.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Just
right. Yeah. Ed Asner was the highlight of that movie, and I'm sure it was just a paycheck.
Yeah.
So.
Was his like back hair prominently displayed?
No, I think I think they paid him well, and he got a T-shirt.
Good.
Really nice. Yeah. Yeah, he just sat in a chair most of the time, I think. But yeah, I understand that you got to see Last Jedi where you were in IMAX, right?
Yeah, so the theater we went to had an IMAX screen, and Star Wars was playing on it. And of course, we thought, you know, well, the family, they weren't all together at the same time at Dad. So it was just, you know, my dad and my stepmom and me, my wife, and daughter. And so it was, you know, pretty quiet, and thought, well, maybe it'd be fun to see a movie. So we're looking at movie times, and we're looking at, you know, everything's full, you know, and then there's the IMAX, and I'm like, well, let's just see what's going on there. 2/3 of the way up, 5 seats right in the middle. I'm like,
wow.
Get them now, right now, you know.
Was there like a light shining on the seats?
Exactly. There was a sound, exactly. Yeah. So we got those, and you know, to see it in IMAX and everything was just awesome. It was my wife's first time seeing it. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it was a she
Is she a Star Wars fan?
She's not a Star Wars fan.
Okay.
She cares not. You know, I mean, she gives zero cruds, as they say. But she was very nice and acted interested. You know, so that was nice. I appreciate the politeness. She's always very polite.
And even after, did she...
Oh, yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
that was nice. Okay.
Yeah. You know, with zero conversation about it whatsoever.
She wasn't ready to sign a petition or anything.
No.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
No.
You want that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
I'm signing a petition to try to get my wife to be more interested in Star Wars. There's not a lot of
copy?
movement. Right.
Except I need mine to list like everything.
Yeah.
Even the movie theater experience. My wife does not like going to the theater. I love it. You know, there's been a lot of headlines lately, mostly Last Jedi headlines.
Right.
Bright, which is a new Netflix film, that's gotten a lot of headlines.
Will Smith and...
Yeah, they had a preview months ago, and it really looked interesting.
Yeah.
It was Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. Joel Edgerton was playing this orc.
Yeah.
who was Will Smith's partner on the police force. And one of the big headlines currently is it's the worst movie of 2017. I'm just like, and I didn't even see the film yet. And I was like, that can't be right.
Right.
So I, took the liberty. It's on Netflix currently, so go out and check it out. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I recommend checking it out. Doesn't mean I liked it.
Right.
Wink.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah, good. I want to see it.
That's my review.
Yeah.
No, it's from the director David Ayer, who did End of Watch, Suicide Squad, which a lot of people, Suicide Squad, I think you and I aren't like the biggest Suicide Squad fans.
No, I mean, it was enjoyable, but it was nothing earth-shattering to me. I thought it had cool moments.
Yes, I agree.
Not a
moments
great
you've
film.
never seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a great film, but some cool characters and some cool moments, and, it was I thought it had a lot of potential, maybe, for going forward. But,
yes. I think the editing just really botched that film.
Yeah.
It was like a trailer studio, cuts trailers, so they cut a movie.
I didn't even buy it.
Yeah. I
that's
did,
weird
sadly.
for me.
I know.
You
Yeah, I know. I can't resist because, Target has these great collector boxes, not boxes, but the case is pretty big and it's
there
got
books in it.
Yeah.
Like the Wonder Woman one, I got that from Target.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the bad thing is for me anyway, once I started getting those particular ones and Target keeps issuing them, I have to buy them.
Yeah.
So they look great on a shelf, but
it's a sickness.
Yeah. Damn you, Target. But yeah, the extended cut Suicide Squad's much better. I don't think you can really judge his directing just because of the way it's edited,
Right.
Because just looking at Bright, and I've seen End of Watch. I don't know if you've seen End of Watch, but he's a great filmmaker.
Yeah.
So it made sense for Warner Brothers to, have him direct Suicide Squad. Of course, it didn't make sense for them to say, hey, let's have a trailer company cut your film. Just a big mess there, and I don't.
Warner Brothers usually makes just the best decisions. So
jeez,
I don't understand.
I wonder if we could apply. We might be able to help them out a little bit.
I think a homeless guy, who's mute,
right? Yeah,
can apply and do a better job.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Just put a tuxedo on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks great. Cigar. Yeah. So looking at Bright, I went in with I didn't have too much hype for it, but I really doubted it was the worst movie 2017. 10 minutes in, still not seeing, all the criticisms, honestly. It's like an Alien Nation story, which we've explored before. It's a very unique world they set up. You got orcs in this world, you've got elves, and you've got like fairies, and there might be a few other things I didn't pick up on. I think a lot of people see it twice and pick up a lot, of course. But yeah, it's really, it's a neat premise, I think. And it's not like they just arrived. Like, I think Alien Nation was like that.
Yeah.
This is like, they've been in a world. This is an alternate world, period.
Yeah. So they've been chilling.
Yeah.
Been there for a while.
There was a big war. Which,
okay.
I told you this before the show. There could be so much fan fiction developed for this film.
Yeah.
It's really a great premise, and even a TV show or a follow-up. I mean, there's just not enough time to cram all this in one film. That's probably the problem of it being a film. But given the stars, they're not going to do a TV show.
Right.
I mean, I guess Netflix's shows are different, so they could probably commit for like maybe a 5-10 episode run.
Sure.
Which would really help this world be explored more. But yeah, there was like a big war years ago. Orcs and elves, I don't think they could get along. I mean, there's subcultures in the orc community. It's, an allegory for our race conflicts in our world. So a lot of people have criticized that, but I don't see it. I think it's really a unique way to open your eyes to things and take something out from it and apply it to your surroundings, possibly. And especially the times we live in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really hectic with all that. Yeah, I thought it was really unique and really captivating. This is a good movie. Like, it looks good, it's shot well. Yeah, it's a buddy cop film pretty much, and it has a lot of great stars in it.
But people are complaining about it.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
Yeah,
people don't complain very much about anything.
No.
So it must be terrible.
Shocking.
It must be terrible if they're complaining about it.
But you got Naomi Rapace, Joel Edgerton, Will Smith, and a lot of other character actors you've seen throughout the years. Just a brilliant story, just simple story, and I wanted more after I saw it. I really did.
Nice.
I thought it was really, really great world they set up. Yeah, like the elves ran the FBI. It was really cool. Will Smith has a fairy keep running into his bug zapper.
Oh, geez.
All that stuff. But yeah, it just deals with
some humor in it and that sort of thing, yeah.
I mean, it's a similar story we've seen before. Of course, the orc is on the police force. He's the first one. His own kind hates him for what he's done. And of course, the force itself do not show him respect, but he shows them 100% respect. And it's a great world they set up. And I want to see more. I don't know if I think there is plans for a follow-up film.
Good.
And just on the world itself, story aside, I think it's worth exploring whether it's a prequel or a sequel. It's probably going to be a sequel, but
yeah, I
could really see a lot of fans, like I said, generating some fan fiction on this or just, becoming interested in it. I really think it's building a community.
That's awesome.
It just came out, so it's just my theory,
Well, and plus when it gets on Netflix and things like that, sometimes it takes a while for it to gain some legs.
Yes.
It's not like in a theater or anything like that released, and, people have that urgency to go see it immediately. So, yeah, hopefully it'll continue to build some steam.
Yeah, I hope so. Because, Netflix, they don't mess around, and they spent $90 million on this project. So, I think they had some faith in it, and
I did not know they spent that kind of. That's a couple dollars.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, they have it, thankfully.
They do. No question about it.
But see, this is how, in this day and age, everything's going to streaming. Everyone's getting their own streaming services like Disney. Mm-hmm. Of course, Disney has so much to offer.
Oh, a ton.
But Netflix has been geniuses because they said to go out a couple years back, I think, and it seemed ridiculous at the time.
Yeah.
They wanted like maybe 80% content to be original.
Oh, wow.
Like their content. And so they're ahead of the curve, I think. And this is a way to also, go even further is have films, big films. I just think it's a great idea. And yeah, they're not all Netflix series are masterpieces or anything like that, but for the most part,
no, but they've done a nice job. I'm loving it more and more all the time. And, it's they don't work under the normal constraints that anyone else has to,
right?
And I think that's what drives the quality way up.
Well, I know you're going to find this shocking, but I think, it's just a hunch, but I think some critics can be bought off.
You think?
Because a lot of people are like suggesting, well, I wonder why it's being called the worst film of 2017.
Right?
Maybe because they're threatening Disney and everyone else who wants to have their own streaming service. Like, hey, we're doing movies now, guys. Oh crap! How are we going to compete with that?
Yeah,
I think Amazon's done well with original programming.
Yeah, they have.
I don't think
the James Franco series was on there.
That might have actually been Hulu.
Was that Hulu?
Maybe. If it's not, I have Amazon. I will check that series out because I want to see it.
You might be right. I don't remember.
Oh, you lose track though.
You do. There's a million out there. It feels like.
Yeah. Right. Right. And unfortunately, cable doesn't give you these channels because I think that's one joke going around. Is like, oh, it's on Netflix. What channel is that?
Yeah.
But
channel 912.
Yeah. That's why you get with friends and who have the other services and just
watch parties.
There you go. Right now, sadly, I don't think critics should be really thought of as being accurate because there's a lot behind the scenes. Like, I think the best critics, honestly, are the audience itself and like YouTubers. Maybe not the big YouTubers. Some of them are good, of course, but lower grades like us.
Yeah, of course. No one is better than us.
Yes,
so
exactly.
We're way better than
That's our new slogan for 2018. But yeah, I think this is a great film. It's worth your time. It's not a waste. Don't watch it around the kids unless you don't mind your kids hearing all languages because it goes there. But End of Watch was the same way with, the police force, all the language and violence. There is violence.
Yeah.
So if you throw up easily, you may not want to watch it. But,
really?
Well, there's a few slit necks.
I have a weak stomach.
Yeah, right. Well, just get a bag.
I don't mind blood and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
the guts and that sort of thing.
No, it
and
doesn't
gore
it doesn't go that
and-
far.
yeah.
No, it's
Like
subtle.
Walking Dead, putting zombie guts all over yourself to
Yeah,
mask the scent.
no. Maybe in a sequel they'll do that, but it's
That's
really
when I
cool.
stopped watching Walking Dead. And I loved every second of it up until that point.
Yeah,
I just got grossed out. And I was
just
done.
showering guts and
Well, I mean, they had to get away from the zombies and stuff, and so one thing that they did was they took the ones that were killed and dead and just put all their crap all over them to mask the scent, so they could just walk through.
yeah.
And I don't even know what happened after that. I mean, I watched it going on for like 3 seconds. I'm like, all right, poof.
I'm done.
I haven't watched it since. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean,
Gosh,
terrible.
that's
I'm
crazy.
a bad person, and I am a bad person because I thought it was incredible.
Yeah,
Up to that minute, and of course, everyone loves it. I mean, I'm sure I would still love the show, but yeah, that moment was a bit.
well, does Game of Thrones go that way at all?
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's got its moments, and it's got a lot of violent battle scenes and
But the nudity helps.
stabbing and honestly, the dragons help. The
Yeah.
guys are pretty sweet. But again, I'm really old now, so I don't care about the nudity. But
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. But yes, it wasn't near as bad, I don't think. But yeah, they do have some scenes that are pretty violent.
Sure.
The mountain, gouging a guy's eyes out. Just little tiny things, nothing big.
Yeah, that's what Bright really.
I did that to a guy in the break room the other day. So I mean,
He's feeling better, by the way.
Oh, good. He won't see ever again, but he's feeling better. I'm
yeah.
glad.
You don't need eyes. That's
Glad.
overrated. But
Well, he can't sue who he can't see.
exactly,
There's a horrible tagline for a movie right there.
the shadow knows.
Can't sue who you can't see.
It's a horror movie. But yeah, no, Bright's not over the top with the gore. It's just
Yeah.
gunshots,
Oh, yeah.
all that
Good.
stuff. But yeah, you should be able to handle it just fine. I exaggerated that. So yeah, no, it's a great film. Go check it out and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
News flash.
G.I. Joe 3. Paramount has announced it's moving forward with the franchise. Expected out March 27th, 2020. Channing Tatum's Gambit begins filming in March. Rumored to be a heist film, due out February 14th, 2019. What We Do in the Shadows is getting a television spin-off. Will feature zombies and werewolves based on the world created by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. It will be an X-Files-like setup. 2 main detectives from What We Do in the Shadows will star. The series will consist of 6 episodes, 30 minutes each. Working title is Wellington Paranormal. May drop 2019. Film sequel to What We Do in the Shadows is also in the works, titled Werewolves. You can currently see What We Do in the Shadows on Amazon Prime. Star Trek gets a screenwriter. Mark L. Smith, famous for The Revenant, has been chosen. This is the new Quentin Tarantino's rated R film currently in development. 2020 likely for a release date. Star Trek Bridge Crew gets a patch. The VR game, which features 4 players working together to pilot a starship through dangerous missions, now has a non-VR patch. This has just been released for the PS4 and PC. Pictures of Bumblebee. Image of Haley Steinfeld has been released alongside a old yellow Volkswagen. This film is set in the 1980s. It will be a coming-of-age story directed by Travis Knight. John Cena also stars. Due out December 21st, 2018. For all other news, please check out Field of Geeks on all social media. Listen to them on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, and fieldofgeeks.com. Well, we're finally going to talk about, the elephant in the room, or the porg in the room.
Yeah.
The elephant. Yeah.
In the trailer, I thought, that's kind of amusing, but I'm going to hate every second of that, I'm sure. And I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Well, I will say that people who don't like the film like them.
Yeah.
But of course, also people compare them to Jar Jar, which I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
sorry, not even close. Not even in
not
the
even
same
Ewoks. Yeah,
planet. Not even close.
exactly. So we'll go into our non-spoiler thoughts best we can. And then we'll go into spoilers. Everyone will be warned. But yeah, we're going to review Star Wars The Last Jedi. Take it away, Steve.
Yeah, so seeing it twice, I felt the exact same the second time coming out of it as I did the first. Hated every... No, I loved it. I really did love it. It wasn't without its faults. But if you're a Star Wars fan and you do want them to maybe go a different direction, then this is what you should be watching. A big complaint with The Force Awakens was, it's a beat-by-beat replay of Star Wars A New Hope. Yeah, that's how they all talk. Well, at least that's a voice I'm assigning to them.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
That's
accurate.
So they complain about it being, just like the old stuff. And so then with this movie, they branch off and they do things that are radically different to a degree. Now people are all up in arms and, it's too different, so you can't please anyone. But I was pleased, I enjoyed it. It was very sad knowing that it's Carrie Fisher's last appearance and, the whole thing there. So that was too bad. But, I loved it. My daughter loved it. My wife pretended to like it. And so it was, it was a good time. But, I thought the performances turned in were really, really strong. I mean, Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Wow. An actor does a great job when you want to like him and punch him in his face at the exact same time.
Yeah.
He just destroys it. He's awesome. For me, I like the stuff with Poe Dameron, and when we get into spoilers, we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But for me, the performance of the show goes to Mark Hamill.
Yes.
And I know he wasn't really completely on board with the way Luke was being portrayed, and stuff, which he's gone back and talked about a little bit further. And, I totally respect his opinion on it. And, he is the guy,
Mm-hmm.
But the performance he turned in, oh, man.
Right.
He is that character, and no one else could do that.
Well, and I want to back up just a little bit there with, Mark Hamill expressing his disagreement, whatever, with Luke's betrayal in this film. Not giving away much. I mean, this is what he said in public, but I don't think that has hurt the film.
I don't think so either. Yeah. And I also don't think it was his way of saying this is going to be terrible. I don't think that's it at all.
Right.
Just his own personal opinion was that, it probably would have been different.
Of course, he's backed off now, but that's probably maybe Disney got involved. But honestly, I don't think that. Maybe it turns off some people, but
there's
so much more to it.
Yeah, and after watching the film and watching his portrayal and what happens with that character during the whole thing, I really felt like it made a lot of sense. The way they decked the story up,
sure.
and nobody could have performed that better than Mark Hamill, for that character, and it was just great.
Right, absolutely.
Just great. And, there was some humor blended in here and there with the movie, in true Disney fashion, but it wasn't too over the top, it wasn't, crazy, but, it was fun, it was in some good places.
Sure.
Without spoiling anything, there's a scene where Luke and Rey are, doing a little bit of training type stuff, and, he just does something pretty funny at that point, and it got one of the biggest laughs of the film. And
that's not Luke Skywalker.
Everybody in the audiences I saw thought that was hilarious, and we all laughed, and it was pretty funny. But I got to tell you, I'd say 4 out of 5 stars for me.
That's great.
I loved it.
It's great. Were you a fan of the new take, the whole Force Awakens? To back up a little bit again, just when this all started, were you on board before Last Jedi?
I was. I really did like The Force Awakens, and the people that are complaining because it was too much like the old stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, we saw a huge departure with the prequels, obviously.
Yeah.
And those are fairly hated universally.
They are?
I heard that. Those prequels to me have really amazing, cool moments.
Yeah.
But overall, I would rather just watch them with the sound down.
Yes.
Or the dialogue completely muted with captions and still have the music and sound effects, because that's always great.
There have been some brilliant fan edits of those films.
I need to watch some of those because I haven't, but
worlds better.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's funny because, you know, there's a lot of key moments in those prequels that are important and are pretty cool. But so when Force Awakens came, I think that it was important to kind of get back to the basics of Star Wars, rope the fan base back in after the poor experience with the prequels. And the way they did it was, I thought, very, very, very clever. You know, I mean, they kept it similar while introducing new characters, bringing in some old characters back. I mean, it had similar elements, absolutely. You know, but I still thought it was different enough, and you know, it was great. I mean, seeing, you know, Han Solo and Chewbacca get back on the Millennium Falcon, you know, watching Rey grow. Finn, to me, was just, Finn's one of my favorite characters. You know, I think he's great, you know, and it was, I was really excited. So yeah, I mean, I saw Force Awakens, loved it. So when this movie came out, I've been just dying to see it, you know, and I have to stay alive long enough now for the next one. So that's...
Well, you got many more because Rian Johnson's supposedly doing another trilogy.
It's hard to judge my life expectancy on movies, and I just get so tired.
I think this is how the human race advances.
Right.
You know, we get back up to the 200, 300-year-old, you know, people. Yeah. And, yeah, just because we want to see it, you know, they're making another movie?
Yeah.
Like, oh, gosh. All right, give me the oxygen tank.
Right. But it's good.
Sweet. Yeah. So... yeah, of course, Last Jedi has been the longest Star Wars film, I guess.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't feel that way.
It didn't, because there was so much going on.
Sure.
If I do have a complaint, it did feel a little choppy sometimes, and there was a lot of... It just went from action to action to action to action in several places.
Right.
Where I felt like maybe... You know, the reason I gave it 4 out of 5 is there's one scene in particular, it's kind of a spoiler we'll talk about, but then the pacing. You know, I felt like it could have been just a little bit different for me. But it didn't deter my enjoyment at all. But it didn't feel.
Sure.
And you know what? If they did change the pacing, maybe it would have felt like that long of a movie. And, you know, so what the hell do I know? But, it was, you know, it's a long movie, and, you know, when Jennifer saw it, she didn't feel like it took that long either, you know, and she doesn't care at all. So, I mean, it was good.
That's great. Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way. You know, I was aboard the hype train before this. I got to be honest. So that after the first viewing, I didn't hate it or dislike it. I was really conflicted. Like, I didn't know. You know, I understood a lot of people I watched beforehand on their shows. They did spoiler-free reviews, but it was very hard for them to talk about the film and what they thought about it. And I totally understood that. When I walked out the first time, weeks passed, and, you know, I watched and read a lot of more reviews, positive ones, negative ones, and, you know, I was really able to kind of come to terms with what I saw. Not like it was something that changed my life or anything, but, I mean, it's a Star Wars movie. Come on. The experience alone is fantastic. I mean... That's what you always get out of those movies. Even the prequels, when, to me, we felt like we kept getting duped. But you still got to the theater and saw it.
Yeah, you still went.
And it was fun. A big Star Wars comes up on the screen, and people just go nuts in the scroll. But, yeah, I knew I needed to see it a second time. And luckily, just last night, I was able to see it again. Took my daughter.
Oh, nice, yeah.
You know, she was kind of bored. Because it's a long movie for kids, I'm sure.
Sure.
But she picked up on the characters, you know, like Rose, and you know, and she was concerned, and that showed a lot there too. And I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. The hype was removed.
Yeah.
With Force Awakens, I felt the hype was, you know, it matched my expectations for the most part. But you know, it's a different film. Like you said, it was trying to bring back old fans.
Right.
It kind of. I'm not trying to say it this way, but to me, it played it safe in many ways, but in ways it didn't.
Right.
You know, especially with Han Solo.
Right.
Spoilers.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Force Awakens, he dies.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, second time around, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not a perfect film, but originals weren't perfect either.
No.
There's problems with the originals, and
Find me a perfect film.
correct, yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think what's very interesting to me, and Steve knew this before I did, but, just after listening to all these reviews, I came upon something that was very interesting. Empire Strikes Back in the day wasn't received too well by fans.
Right.
Steve, you were one of them.
I was one of those guys, as a kid, walking out of the theater, Han Solo gets thrown in carbonite and gets taken away by Boba Fett. Luke loses his hand. Things are looking pretty bleak for our heroes.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie.
Now wait 3 years.
Now wait for another 3 years. And, Empire threw people for a loop.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, it's the one that's the most revered. Mm-hmm. And that's not, I'm not saying that Last Jedi will be the most revered in a few years or anything like that. But what I am saying is that people need to take a breath sometimes and accept things that are different and have change. Star Wars A New Hope was very, the ending of that, they blew up the Death Star. Wahoo! Here's your medal ceremony and everything's great. And, Empire was radically different,
Right.
And Force Awakens, the good guys won. They blew up Starkiller Base. And, yeah, you lost Han Solo, but you lost Ben Kenobi in the first movie, So, I mean, you have that sense of celebration. In The Last Jedi, you really don't have that. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's similar in style to the old movies when people are saying it's just too different.
Exactly.
So there's still a lot of a lot of similar elements, that we've seen before, but I still thought it was pulled off well.
Which is funny because when any sequel is made, people always want the Empire sequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
With any franchise.
Yeah.
Like Wrath of Khan.
Oh yeah.
It's either Empire or Wrath of Khan. They go for it, and people wanted it out of this film.
Yeah.
And to many people's arguments, it went there or didn't.
Like Avatar, when the sequel of that finally comes out. I mean, if that entire
sequels,
it's sequels. Well, in the next one, if that entire universe just blows up and is completely destroyed, I'm on board.
More of that.
Yeah, more of that, and less of anything else.
Which is a sidetrack a little bit because Cameron's announced that he's going to make a lot of Avatar sequels, but now with the Disney deal, I think Disney's like, you get one chance and then snip. No more. So they're not playing around.
Yeah, thank you, Disney.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe he'll blow us away, but anyway.
Yeah, he won't.
It also brought something to my attention, with all the criticisms of Last Jedi. Ridley Scott, I think he's a great filmmaker, but his latest work has missed the mark, But lately he kind of I thought he said kind of a, just being cocky as hell. And of course I got to read into it, but the headline was, I'm too dangerous to direct a Star Wars film. And I'm like, yeah, maybe for box office receipts, because you're not really doing the great work anymore.
I loved Blade Runner, the new one.
Yeah, I did too. And he only produced that one.
Yeah.
But he criticized that lately.
He criticized that.
He said, it's too effing long. Like,
you'll never see the long version of it, that sort of thing. But
it's like, you're just jealous you couldn't make that film. Like, he couldn't.
Yeah. That movie to me was just art.
Oh, it's beautiful. I can't wait to own that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just watch it to death. But
agreed.
But yeah, we live in great times where we revisit old characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not always going to fulfill our expectations. We'll get into that. But overall, I thought The Last Jedi was great. It was a great film. And things didn't go the way I wanted them to go. But isn't that kind of the point? Like, if you could predict all this, what's the point?
If a movie's going to go the way I want it to go, I don't need to go to the movie.
Yeah.
Because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and
write fan fiction.
Yeah. Right.
Buy some toys.
Play a video game. Make your own story.
Right, exactly. And people have done that before. And that's what's great about this universe. And also it's great nowadays, the people complain about, Disney's just, they don't get Star Wars. And I understand this at a certain point, but they have Kathleen Kennedy running Lucasfilm, its own division. You know, they know what they're doing, and they're cranking out all these films for us. Like, we're going to get a Star Wars movie every year for a while. Solo's coming out early next year, I think.
Yeah.
Which I kind of wish it was coming out Christmas. I've gotten used to that. I know that's not what they shoot for, but that's a really big event. I like that.
Have a Star Wars movie every Christmas.
Yeah.
How great would that be?
Yeah, because I think Rogue One came out that time. I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we live in great times, and yeah, there's gonna be complaints going forward. But of course, everyone's expectations are different. That doesn't get fulfilled, and that's a downer. But it's just the way it is. And back in the day, I'm sure after Jedi ended, people were like, "Oh crap, that's it."
Yeah, that's it. And what's with the Ewoks?
Yeah, because the Ewoks, there was I think there was a spin-off film or something.
2.
There was 2?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, not memorable, are they?
No.
And of course, we shared this on our page, the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh God!
Which came out like right after the first movie. Did you like that at the time?
No. No, I did not. Who's the famous character introduced in that?
Boba Fett?
That's right.
Yeah. Cartoon form,
but it was still the first time you see the guy.
That was the highlight of that whole special, was just that cartoon, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny because, it's so bad it's good. I don't know. It's the Millennium Falcon, the cockpit is like half the size it was in the movie. Harrison Ford gives no shits what he's doing.
No.
Like, there's an intro they did, because they did it like a variety show. There's an intro where they cut to the people. he just glances at the camera and waves like, like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, whatever, I'm getting paid.
I'll give that to Harrison Ford. Even in the start of his career, didn't give a shit. He's like,
he was still kind of a jerk. You know? And that's all right.
I'm on my own terms.
Yeah, he does what he wants.
Exactly. Yeah, check that out. That's it's probably time he won't get back, but
don't check that out.
Maybe there's a highlight read. The credits.
Right.
Carrie Fisher singing. So yeah, I think we've said enough about the non-spoilers as much as we can. Good film. Check it out. Worth seeing. I would highly recommend seeing it twice. Even if you get so pissed off the first time you see it, which I didn't. But I know other people are very passionate. It's like, see it again. Like, yeah, I know it's not cheap to go see these films, but it's an experience, and take other people with you, and
Yeah, don't believe the hype. Create your own opinion.
Critics are becoming like corporations, it seems, especially with like Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. It's like, go to your YouTube channels, or just try to find people who aren't, highly up on the ladder that could get paid off. I know that's crazy to theorize that, but anyway, we're going to go into spoilers now. Have some fun.
Spoilers.
So, this is the warning. This is spoiler territory now. So, if you haven't seen the film, hate to say this, turn this off.
Yeah.
Come back. Please come back. No, go see the film. Come back and listen to the spoilers as we talk, about things we loved and didn't like so much. So, yeah. May the force be with you.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
Joy is here. You say they all die.
Oh, yeah, they all die.
They all die.
Everyone dies.
You want to start?
So, without, doing a scene-by-scene rehash.
Yeah, because, man, we'd be here 3 hours.
We'd be here way too long. Some of the things... I'll go with my criticisms first.
Sure.
The absolute one that sticks out to me, and a lot of people have been talking about, is when Kylo Ren and a couple of his TIE fighter buddies are doing an attack run on the Rebel ship, the one that Princess Leia is on. Kylo Ren has an opportunity to finish the job, kill everybody. He does not take it. So he's second guessing a little bit, but the TIE fighters don't hesitate, and they do take it. Boom, the bridge blows up. Princess Leia gets sucked out into space, and you're thinking, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I did for sure.
That's all she wrote. So, you see her floating in space, and you see the hand move, and, the eyes open, and then she force pulls herself back into the ship. People are complaining about the floating in space going back to the ship. We've seen so much pushing and pulling with the Force, pulling yourself back into a ship or something like that, or jumping off of a building in Coruscant and landing, 800 feet below on a, speeder perfectly. The Force does that stuff. You can do that. So flying through through a very short amount of space to get back to the ship is nothing. That to me wasn't the problem. To me is the vacuum of space. If you're unconscious, you can't really set up any sort of force protection around yourself in space. Mm-hmm. You're going to be dead instantly. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was just the one little tiny. And that one still sticks out, and it's like I don't know. I mean, she was in space; she should be dead.
Yeah. I
mean, if they made a big deal of it, maybe using the Force for anything, then fine. But she's just sitting out there unconscious. That's not how it works.
Unless the Force is an entity itself.
Unless it's an entity in itself.
Protected her. I know. But maybe that's what the writer, Ryan Johnson directed and wrote this film.
So I don't know. But that's the one that sticks out. Not the, whole.
Not the flying
through.
witch.
Yeah.
Like they said, she looked like a witch flying. And
that didn't bother me at all.
This is funny to me because everyone for years was like, Leia, we want to see her do Force powers and da-da-da. And she finally does it. Oh, what the hell? None of them criticized the vacuum of space, I'm pretty sure, what you did. Like, they criticized the other stuff. Like, that was stupid.
Which is dumb. Yoda is walking around with a cane, but then when he fights Count Dooku, he's flying around, jumping around all over the place. That's the Force. Mm-hmm. So you can't sit there and tell me that what Leia did to get back to the ship is out of the realm of possibility within the Force.
Right.
Sorry, it's not. It's totally, absolutely realistic in that universe. For me, the vacuum of space. That's my key complaint, honestly, of the entire movie.
And that's a good complaint.
But it's, again, didn't deter my enjoyment. It was a, moment for me, but the whole film was so good for me that I did, I can write that off and not care. Because again, not every film's perfect.
Sure.
So that was kind of the big one for me. Other complaints, people are complaining about Luke being out of character. He's too negative. He's, a hermit now, and he's just, he's abandoning the Jedi and all that. And, he would never do that. Well, Yoda went and hid in a swamp. Obi-Wan changed his name and moved to a desert planet, and so, what's happening is, to me, not a big deal as far as having some disillusionment with the Jedi. This film, to me, the message was taking failure and turning it around to success. And the Jedi had failed. Luke said that himself. And they did fail multiple times.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's a point there.
Especially if you look at the prequels.
Right.
You honor the prequels.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the big primary message.
Yeah.
Was the failure of the Jedi. And, so Luke sees that too. His apprentice, Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, turns into Kylo Ren. Went to the dark side, and, looks like this is just ridiculous. And, that's his own flesh and blood, his nephew. And, yeah, I can see him being pretty disillusioned by that.
Sure.
So, again, and so when he sees Rey, who comes to find him, and, she has the Force and wants to be able to use it and learn how to use it. He's obviously reluctant and says no, hit the bricks, and then decides to give her 3 lessons, and after a while. And cool scene, Chewie breaking down the door.
Yeah.
Because she kept trying to get his attention, kept knocking on the door, and just waiting, and he just ignored her completely. And finally, the banging on the door, Luke's like, leave me alone, and get off my lawn, kind of a thing. Yeah. And the door just breaks through, and Chewbacca comes in, he's just pissed off, and it was really
I can translate it. I think he said, asshole.
Yeah. It was really great. That was pretty funny. But, the stuff with Luke and Rey, I thought was great, and Luke could sense extreme power in Rey. Mm-hmm. And was concerned that, she could go to the dark side as well. And, it was, she didn't in the movie, so spoilers. But man, I mean, it was just really powerful stuff.
Sure.
I loved it. And the scene with Luke, she's on the rock. He's like, close your eyes. Then he's like, reach out and reach out with your feelings. So she reaches out with her hand, literally. And he's just like, oh my God. So he starts hitting her with that stick or whatever.
Oh,
Can
you feel that?
it? You feel that? That's the Force. Smacks her on the hand,
It's very like Samurai Master in a way. Like,
right.
You're a fool.
Yeah.
Like,
so that was really, that was hilarious, and both theaters I was in, everybody laughed at that.
sure.
But, a lot of other pieces of the movie that I felt didn't work were very small. I think the other thing that stands out for me is Snoke. Pulling a Darth Maul and just pretty much dying
Right.
unceremoniously. We don't find out anything about Snoke. We build this guy up and poof, he's just instantly dead. There's no real payoff on, what's his origin, what happened there. And
Right. Right.
so he died. I mean, I like how he died. I thought that's a great third movie death.
Right.
I don't know about a second movie death, but it did lead into one of the coolest scenes in all of Star Wars history.
Right.
So to go into the spoilers, Snoke has Rey's lightsaber sitting next to him on his throne, very much like Palpatine had Luke's. And, he's basically going to have Rey killed, and he's going to have Kylo Ren kill Rey. So he can complete his training and all that. And so Kylo Ren, instead of killing Rey, turns the lightsaber towards Snoke, ignites it, kills him, cuts him in half. And what I think is one of the coolest shots in all of Star Wars is you just are looking straight at the throne. Here comes the lightsaber. It's on. And you just see Rey's hand come up and grab it.
That's a beautiful shot.
Unbelievable shot.
That was cool.
Because in one shot, it looked visually sweet. And when she caught it, that was the, oh shit, it's on now kind of a feeling,
Yeah.
And then her and Kylo Ren team up and beat the Praetorian Guards in what is one of the coolest fight scenes in Star Wars history.
Badass.
It's just really great, so pretty sweet.
Do you think Rey pulled the lightsaber from Snoke, or did Kylo?
I don't know.
Kylo.
I don't know which one of them did the...
I just thought of that just now. Like,
Yeah.
who pulled it? Because she caught it, but did she summon it?
She caught it.
Maybe she did. Maybe
she did, but either way, I mean, just watching it come towards the camera...
And boom.
And then she catches it just perfectly. It was just...
with the red backdrop.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a
the
beautiful
blue
set.
saber. And,
Yeah.
Just unreal.
Well, and she turns to Kylo, and they have that moment, and you're like, you honestly don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Right.
Like, are they going to fight now?
Yep.
And then they just, they go back to back and kick some ass.
Tear everyone up.
It was really cool. Yeah. The Snoke, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Keeps wanting to say Snope or something.
Snake with an O. So
There
Snoke,
you go.
yep.
Snoke. Yeah. Yeah, that scene, it was very predictable when they're in the elevator. It was very Jedi.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, really?
Vader and Luke. Yeah.
I see good in you.
Right.
Rey's convinced that Kylo, because they had that Skype call, with the Force,
Right.
which that's not my original coming up with. I heard it from someone else, but I was like, that's exactly what it was.
Right.
That was really unique. I didn't,
Yeah.
because honestly, that's how you kind of rooted for Kylo through all that communication. Because really, after the first film, you're like, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
He's not redeemable. This movie really, the writing was so good that you really were like, I think he's going to turn.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
Right.
Like, yeah, he killed Han Solo. He's killed several people.
Yeah. Vader killed thousands of people.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Through his actions.
Right. Even children.
Yeah.
Which was really dark. But
very dark.
yeah, I was like, wow, this is kind of, this is happening, huh? And then they get to the Emperor chamber, and I'm like, man, this is so much like Jedi. But, you know, I really like how they dealt with this in the second film, because if they did it in the third, it'd be very predictable.
Right.
You know, and
that's true.
Right. But that's kind of what I expected, you know, before this, but I'm glad they went another route, which I think is good because it shows originality, because people are like, oh, I know how this is going to go.
Right.
First one's like, oh, it's very hopeful. Second one's like a downer. And the third one's like redeem.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, but this is going to do its own thing.
Right.
Just like The Force Awakens did, even though people argue it didn't. It offered new things. Like killing Han Solo was a big
that's
risk.
a big deal.
Like I didn't think they would do it, you know? Yeah. Once Snoke gets taken out, I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, damn it.
Still don't even know who this guy is.
Right.
And it's not that he has to be someone that we already know. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's just, you know, tell us about the
We're
character.
used to it,
though. Yeah.
But what's very interesting is I listened to some other, and you know, I don't want to take credit for these things I've come up with, because I've heard so many people talk about this film.
Yeah.
YouTube and, you know, other podcasts, but they made an interesting point. We didn't really know who the Emperor was in the original trilogy.
Not in the original, right?
Not until we got the prequels.
Right.
That's when it had more meaning. Like we got his backstory, and I think we got spoiled with that. And we're like, well, Snoke, we're going to find out what this guy came. Well, if you look at the original trilogy,
we didn't know
who the hell this Emperor was. He was just an asshole on the throne. And
Palpatine?
Yeah.
Is that like Ovaltine? You know, yeah, you didn't know.
Gingivitis. Yeah. So yeah, I still would like to know where he came from. I think there are a few filler like books out there, so you have to read, of course, or I'm sure you can find a review on them. But
Darth Plagueis, read the book.
Yeah.
It's one of the best Star Wars books I've ever read in my life, and it talks about how Palpatine rose to be Palpatine.
And it's canon, right?
Yeah. No.
Oh,
not anymore.
They took it out. Okay.
And I haven't seen, you know, the official. It's not in canon anymore.
That sucks. So there's so many good fan fictions
right
out there.
But this one, that book could be.
Yeah.
Because
could be explored.
Nothing in it would have been changed through The Force Awakens or anything like that. So, and it was before the prequels.
Right.
So,
I wonder if since they're doing like prequel films, that's why they cut all that. Who knows? Who knows?
But I will say that was one of the best Star Wars books I've read.
I think the new ones are in canon, and I heard they fill in the pieces like Phasma, for instance. You get more on her. But yeah, you know, to sum it up, yeah, he was just an evil asshole on a throne, and he got killed. I mean, it's sometimes that's the way life is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I would have liked to have known his backstory for sure.
You're right, though. Maybe we will.
Well, you still could. Some people think he was, I don't know if he was Darth Plagueis or Darth Sidious, but some thought those people were so evil that they were able to reincarnate themselves, and any body they reincarnated into rotted because they're so filled with evil. And that would explain Snoke's appearance, because, you know, he was all jacked up and people, it's just so crazy. It's really a big, in a way, it's kind of a finger to all the fans. Like all the people who speculated these 2 years, this guy's this and that. Oh, you see the face? No, he's dead.
Who's Rey's parents? You know, the whole thing, right?
That's one thing I'm still not, I think what's interesting is what they really do, and I think what Star Wars always needed to be was the original trilogy was like, it seemed like only Skywalkers could do shit.
Right.
But now it's like, no, anybody could have Force abilities. You don't have to come from
there were thousands of Jedis before, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to come from this great family, and I think that's unique what they did for Rey. You know, and I guess you could sum it up with, she was just like so powerful with the Force, because, you know, the first Force Awakens film, how she could pull in the lightsaber and all this stuff, and people are like, how can she have all that power? Like, what's the deal with that? And I just always thought, well, there's more to it. Like, she probably got her mind wiped away, memories, and she was really good with the Force.
Right.
But it appears maybe not. But also, it could be Kylo just lied.
And you know what? He could have just lied to her face, saying that she was nobody, and her parents sold her, and all this stuff. And it was, to me, it felt like a lie, only because in the first movie, several times he references the girl.
Yes.
The girl I've heard so much about.
What girl? Yeah.
And
Yes.
And that's an exact phrase from Force Awakens. The girl that I've heard so much about. And
Yeah.
It's like, well, if she comes from nobody, how the hell did you hear about her?
Yeah.
And how would you have known about her?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have. So when he says that to Rey, it feels like that was his lie to try to get her to join him.
Right.
Which she did not.
Right.
But it was, I don't think that's, I think he was full of crap.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'll take that over the Snoke thing. Like, I'm fine with Snoke being, just a bad guy. He got killed. And we really know who he was, honestly. Right. Let's be honest. He was an Emperor-like character.
Yeah.
He had powers and all that stuff. Like, yeah, we'll probably get a backstory eventually. Who knows? But if we don't, we don't. Yeah. But just other things in this film where she was in the Jedi Temple, she says she's been there before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mysterious things, even grabbing the lightsaber in The Force Awakens, all those like hallucination visions she had. Something's got to be there, and I think Ren was just trying to get her to join him.
Yeah,
and man, the acting's so good. I think after he said, "You're from nothing. You're not even a part of this story," or something like that, which was really kind of cool to be like, "Yeah, you're not a Skywalker."
Yeah, he's like, "You're nothing, but not to me."
Yes, but that delay, and then, but not to me, and then holds out his hand, and it was like, wow. That's the beauty of this film. I thought was, you didn't know if she's going to take the hand or not.
Right.
Like, you really didn't know.
Yep.
Like, there was
especially watching them fight together.
Right.
Having their Skype calls together.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Which was really cool how, they couldn't see each other's environments, but they could see each other.
Right.
And he was able to, like, take things, each of them were able to take things from, each other's environments, like the water.
Yeah.
It was splashing on Rey. Kyle had on his hair. And, very, very unique, and they made you like Kylo in a way, like rooted for him, especially after that fight. You're like, oh, this is great. Everything's fabulous. Yeah, this is great. But I think this is very unique because a lot of people say Kylo, he did away with his childlike behavior, with the tantrums.
Right.
He destroyed his mask. Snoke told him earlier, take that thing off, which I think, I'm pretty certain they really retconned a lot of things people didn't like from the first film.
Yeah.
Like the mask. Like, why is he wearing a mask? He doesn't need the mask. It looks cool, but why is he wearing a mask? And Snoke's like that audience and says, take that ridiculous thing off.
And plus, he's quite an upcoming actor. And I don't think they want to keep that guy's face underneath a mask. From a...
Right, because the original Darth Vader... Some people might think that was James Earl Jones.
No, it was not.
It was not.
David Prowse.
Yes, and there's a great documentary on Netflix about him. I think it's called I Am Your Father. They reenact because he wasn't able to be Darth Vader in the death scene in Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Return of the Jedi. They brought an English actor in and all that. And yeah, he kind of got shafted.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's a great documentary. You should check it out. You're not able, this is kind of a spoiler, but the guy who made the film wanted to recreate that scene with that actor, and they did it. But they couldn't show it because of copyright and all that. But it was shown to like a crowd, and you just got to see the reaction. So, very interesting documentary. But going back to, you don't want to see Kylo Ren in this mask the whole time. Yeah, he's a great actor. I think he doesn't have to be disfigured. I mean, he has a scar now, right? But yeah, again, that's very predictable. It's like, oh, he's got to be damaged. Who knows? Maybe the next film he'll lose some stuff or whatever, or his life.
Yeah, I think him and Hux. I think one of those guys are going to kill each other.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good scene too. When Rey and Kylo break apart that lightsaber. Yeah, Hux comes and sees Ren on the floor, and of course Snoke in two pieces.
Yeah.
It's so funny how they just did away with him. He's just drooling on the floor, and it's like, wow, that powerful guy is just slop.
Yeah.
And Hux had, and he was
a blaster
about shooting Kylo, and then Kylo wakes up, and it's like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And
what happened, dude?
Right. So it's going to be very interesting because you now have a reckless emperor, basically, running this army, even though Hux is the commander of the army.
Right.
So it's going to be very interesting with the next film, how that goes. And some people thought maybe Snoke had another apprentice, which I think will be a great story.
Right.
Because Kylo's like, I am the ruler now. This dude comes in, like a Darth Maul-like dude, let's say, or chick, who knows? Girl, sorry.
Right.
And yeah, they have to battle it out.
Yeah.
Who's the Emperor? I mean, that would be really cool and something new, I think.
A dark side battle and
Yeah.
that whole thing. And
For sure.
But, you know, and then watching Kylo throw Hux against the wall at the end of the movie, you know, too. I mean, it's just, these guys hate each other.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
no question. So
Yeah, for sure.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did something different, you know,
Yeah.
and either Kylo kills him or he gets the drop on Kylo Ren somehow.
Right.
You know, I mean, who knows? It could be something like that. But
Sure.
yeah, it was, I just loved it. You know,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun.
it picks up right where the first one left off, pretty much. Like the opening scene, they're still on that planet. They were on the rebels on that planet. They were on the Force Awakens, and the base gets destroyed because the First Order comes, and you get to see them show up in the sky. It's really, really cool effects there. And I think the biggest first line, Poe, he cracks a joke.
Yeah.
And people laughed where I was in attendance, but
Same here. Yeah.
But
Both
yeah.
times.
sometimes it seemed like, man, this is like Spaceballs. But thinking back, Harrison Ford did that shit in the first trilogy. They all did, really, because
everything's fine here. No
How are
problems.
you?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? You
see,
know.
and that's pretty much like he could have just said everything's fine here. That's good enough. But he said, "How are you?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you can dismiss the humor with that. Like it's been there.
Yeah,
and
they've done it before. This is nothing that's, that they're taking and destroying sacred ground with.
You're
know?
right.
I mean, because they've already done it.
Right.
So.
And you have the bombers come in because you have this new giant First Order ship. Forgive me for not knowing the name of it. Oh my gosh.
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought. Okay. Yeah. And Poe's like, we got to take this thing down. Leia's like, back off. We've done what we came to do, because he was basically buying time for the rebels to leave.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you get that great scene with Paige, this character who's a pilot, a co-pilot, whatever. They're dropping all these bombs on these targets. And yeah, it's really a sad moment. Like, you really feel like, oh my God, this is not going to end well at all. They're not going to make it. They're not going to bomb this ship. And she's like the last hope.
Yeah.
And they show her necklace,
Yep.
and you're like, okay, interesting. And then, she has to actually push the button for the bombs to go off, given the circumstances of them getting hit and she's getting thrown around and all that. And she bombs it and destroys the ship, and she gets incinerated, gets killed.
Yeah.
Just closes her eyes. It's a great scene. It's not like it's gross or anything, but it's a brilliant move with the necklace. Because then you go forward and we meet Rose. Yeah. And she's got the other half of the necklace, and they were sisters. Yeah. And she's crying because, she just lost her sister. And it's really, I think it's the first time you really feel like, oh my God, the rebels could really lose this.
Yeah.
Like you really feel like,
and
this
they
is
pretty
it.
much did.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't like your usual, like, we did it. It's really, they have to rebuild at the end of this film.
Yeah.
And what'd you think about the fuel thing? Some people thought that was dumb because it never really was referred to before, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't referred to, but again, I mean, not everything has to be referred to.
Right.
For me to think it's plausible or implausible.
It's never been talked about, so it's like, whatever. I mean, that's the thing when people go about, some people are like, I don't even know what the Force is anymore. Like, well, the Force is not real, first off.
Yeah.
Second, it could be anything because it's pretty much been established.
Yeah, it's fiction.
Yeah, there's no limit to what it can do and what it can't do. So, yeah, I think, like the Leia scene, I think that's an easy write-off. Like, oh, yeah, the Force saved her from the vacuum of space and cocooned her, and then she was able to get back on the ship. But the fuel thing, I think some people say they borrowed that from like a Battlestar Galactica episode with them getting tracked. Huh. I don't know. I didn't see that show, but
I did. I mean, it's similar, but it's also different in the fact that, they were able to stay a little bit ahead and avoid the gunfire. But, eventually they were just going to run out. Right. And, the First Order was like, well, let them go. And then when they run out of gas, we kill them.
Because First Order is basically just taking in the enjoyment, right? Like, they could have annihilated them. That's been an argument, but they're pricks. They're like,
Right.
let's just see these guys run out of hope, and we'll just blow them out of the stars. You know,
they're intergalactic Nazis. I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell do you expect from them? You
for
know?
sure.
They're going to go for the most painful, worst way to kill something or someone that they can.
That's,
you know,
I mean, more than ever is, they are galactic Nazis.
Yeah.
Because the original trilogy was really something a little different.
a little
but
different,
man,
but yeah.
that speech in the first one, I'm like, oh shit, is Hitler around? What's
Right.
going on here? Yeah, so I think that's an easy way to write that off. And a lot of people had problems with Finn and Rose's storyline. They had to go get the code breaker to get into the main First Order ship to disable the tracking
Right.
system. What did you feel about that storyline? Going to that planet casino scene.
Yeah, I again, I didn't have a big problem with it at all. I mean, it created a good diversion from the main action and the two storylines of the Rebel fleet getting away and Rey and Kylo Ren and Luke, that whole thing. And this gave us a good distraction on and getting to see another cool location type planet from Star Wars.
It's like the opposite of the cantina, right?
Yeah, it's very much the
rich.
opposite. This is the
Yeah.
rich. This was the people that, all those people there profited off of selling arms to both the First Order and the Rebels.
Yes.
So it was just interesting to see that. I thought it felt very Rogue One-ish, that
Yeah.
it there aren't a lot of good guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are selling stuff just because they want to make a profit. They're a-holes. They're part of the engines of war, and so that kind of brought that Rogue One element into it for me, that, the Rebels then in Rogue One, they weren't always doing good things.
Han Solo wasn't either.
Han Solo wasn't either,
Yep.
and so this drove that point home a little bit further, and you get to see Benicio del Toro's
DJ, I think that's his character's
Yeah.
name. Now, was he a half lizard or something? Do you remember when they show his like feet? And I tried to catch it more the second time when they're in the cell and he's like laying on a bunk and his upper body is like in the dark. It looks like he has like lizard-like feet.
I didn't notice that.
And remember, he has that like stutter.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a lizard. So I'm like, is this guy half lizard? Because they never, unless some guy was like laying on him. But
Right.
the second time seeing it, it looked like him.
Huh.
So
I honestly, I didn't notice that. I'll
Okay,
have to catch
yeah.
that the next time.
I don't know, but he had like regular boots on too, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But yeah,
But it was a good diversion, I
yeah,
thought.
yeah. I mean, at first it was kind of like off-putting because I was like, but then I realized like, well, this is unique because you've always seen all the scum and villainy in
Right.
like a desert-like setting or just in a crappy bar, and this was like amped up and
Yeah.
it was like. Not horse races, but these creatures.
Right.
I don't know who they were.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the creature that they used for those, but I mean they're horse-like,
Right.
and they use them for racing and the whole thing. But cool scene there, getting them released and the whole thing. But
Do you feel like it went too political or too animal rights activists?
no.
Yeah.
No, I think what they did was a pretty human thing to do. I mean, I think if you're doing anything else, it makes you look like a dingus because you're wanting them to die, basically. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
Like, it didn't feel too heavy. I mean, it definitely felt like, there was a little message there, but the times we live in, like, let's be honest, like, Star Wars is like, the original trilogy was so
Right.
long ago and, it dealt with good and evil. So it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing. I think it was really interesting to show the stable kids because they could become a valuable part at the
Yeah.
end,
Yep.
especially one of them. Did you catch the
I did.
Broom Force first time?
I saw it the first time.
Okay, I
and
did too.
Yeah,
I did too. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Claire caught it the first time, too, so that
Did
was
she?
cool. Yeah, she was paying attention.
And I think I caught this the second time, which, it's not hard to miss, but his the way he held the broom at the end, looking at the stars, looked like he had like a sword.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And that's, basically, I think what this film does that some people love and some people don't, some people have wanted is there to be more to this universe than just Skywalkers.
Right.
Like this one, basically, about Rey, if she's from nothing or her parents weren't very powerful, or whatever. My issue with her is like, I think she's had training just because all the stuff, unless she's just really into the Force.
Right,
I guess that's how
highly
you
attuned
could,
to it, yeah.
right. But like not anybody, but there are several people out there. It doesn't matter what background they're from.
Yeah.
They have that power, and they can use it for good or evil.
Right.
And so, there is hope that, like that stable boy, he's got powers, and he's got the rebel ring now that Rose gave him.
Right.
Which is really cool. I kind of want one of those.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But yeah, I really dug all that. And then them retelling Luke's last stand, which, we can get into. At first, when he arrives on that planet, first off, people were like, oh, this is like Hoth,
Right.
Because, when that one dude steps on and there's like a red footprint, I'm like, oh, man, he's injured, like, ooh. I thought that was kind of unique. It's basically a salt-covered planet, really, yeah. Which explains, why all the ships in the previews, it had that red dust. I'm like, is that a new weapon? They just dust things or whatever?
They're farming.
Yeah, they're farming.
This fleshes out the universe a little bit more. They got to eat, right?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was an interesting planet. And yeah, Luke's last stand.
Oh, boy.
Now, the first time I caught this for sure. And my cousin and I actually were like, did he dye his beard?
Yeah.
Because it was shorter hair and brown hair, like thick brown. I'm like, oh, dude, why? Why would you do that? But then we find out, of course, it was a projection.
Yeah, it wasn't really Luke.
He was basically able to do what Snoke did, except put himself. And Ren mentioned this before, like, to do that would kill you. So we kind of knew, that could happen. It was a projection, basically, and I loved it, though. I thought it was great, him making a stand, because that's what, when he first meets Rey, or they first get talking, she's like, you're Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you want me to do? Face the First Order with a
laser sword? Yeah, it was great. It was a good call out there.
And so, yeah, that's what he did, except he wasn't there. What'd you think about that whole scene?
So, I loved the whole scene in general. The one tiny nitpick is when he comes in at first, and he sees Leia, and they sit down. He holds her hand.
Yeah.
Well, as a force projection... Can you hold a hand?
Well, Kylo and Rey, remember they held hands?
Yeah, as a force projection.
Yeah.
Kylo's lightsaber goes through Luke like he's not even there.
Right.
So part of me is just, I'm not sure how that works.
No, I get it, yeah.
But it didn't bother me.
Right.
Because...
He kisses her forehead, too.
Right, yeah, that's right. And, but yeah, he stands out there in front of the whole might of the First Order... and Kylo Ren's like, I want every gun that we have to fire on that man now, or whatever he says, and they're just tearing it up.
Yeah.
And there's huge red just smoke and stuff everywhere, and Hux is the one that actually had it stopped. He's like, I think you got him,
Yeah.
And out of the dust comes Luke Skywalker, and he brushes his shoulder off, like...
Which some people didn't like that. I did.
I thought it was awesome. It's like the Bruce Lee, kind of the blood on his lip.
Yeah.
And looks at the person and just waves them over.
Right.
That kind of felt like that to me a little bit.
And he knew what he wanted to get Kylo down there.
He wanted to get Kylo down there.
It just pissed him off.
Yeah. And he was buying time for, the resistance to hit the bricks, you know, and take off. So, yeah, when Kylo goes down there, and it was just a very classic scene. Luke's got his lightsaber. And I thought, well, man, cool, they're going to fight. And Luke does some really cool ninja avoiding.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, geez, they haven't even clashed sabers yet. Well, it turns out they didn't need to, obviously.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so Kylo finally gets a strike in and thinks he's got Luke dead. Luke just turns around.
Yeah.
And like nothing had happened. And that's when Kylo, I think, realized, because he just went up and put his lightsaber right through him, knowing that he wasn't there. And yeah, it was a big projection. Luke was on the island still. Never left the island.
Yeah.
That
was something. He was levitating. And yeah, a lot of people were like, you should have been there. But I'm like, yeah, there was a X-Wing in the water. But even if you're one with the Force, I'm sure you're not one with Rust. And, it's like he couldn't really fly back if he wanted to because Rey took off.
Yeah.
They had that encounter. And, well, let's go back there. She took the Jedi books.
Yeah.
Luke went there.
He didn't know that.
Yeah, right. And I didn't catch it the first time either. I'm like, wow, we'll just start over.
Yeah.
But I'm so mad because I missed that scene last night. My daughter wanted another drink, so I took her out there, and I came back, and then, as Luke showed up at the end, I'm like, oh, crap, I missed that scene.
Yeah.
Dang it. But, yeah, Luke goes to light the torch with a candle to just burn down the Jedi temple, and we see Yoda.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that was probably the highlight.
That was awesome.
I'm so glad I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
That was a great surprise, and it's just fun staying away from spoilers, and I didn't get to see it for like 4 days, I think.
It must have been hard.
Yeah, I was on an internet blackout.
Someone come up to you, hey, I saw that, shut up.
My team would make jokes.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, and I told them, I said, I will destroy the first person that tells me anything.
Yeah.
So they were giving me fake sticky notes, things that weren't real or true.
Right.
Boba Fett is alive, and, just stuff like that. And, but, yeah, it was crazy.
It was Empire Yoda, too.
Yeah.
Full puppet.
Frank
not
Oz
CGI.
is back. Frank Oz.
Yep.
And, talked about how failure is the best teacher.
Right.
And, so Luke, he couldn't bring himself to destroy it, like you said, and Yoda, little flick of the finger, and lightning comes down, hits the tree, sets it on fire.
Right.
And poof, it's done, it's gone, but that message about failure.
Yeah.
And yes, it is time for the Jedi to end, is just, it's very powerful, and I love the message. I mean, the whole movie, the whole point of the movie was the failure piece. Look at Poe. Several times in the beginning and throughout the film, he's very brash and he's very, reactionary, and he's just trying to do something that's heroic, and when you get to the end of the movie, when Finn is like, we have to go out there and help Luke Skywalker, Poe takes a step back, analyzes the situation, and realizes he's buying us time and we got to get out. So instead of going out and doing the hero thing, he does the leader thing at the end of the movie, because he had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Right.
During the movie. So he learned to turn around the failure. Be
a true leader.
And
not just
Luke turned around the failure of the Jedi by making that stand in front of the First Order to buy people enough time to get out of there. And yeah, it was really, I just thought it was awesome, and having Yoda talk about that was just phenomenal.
Well, and he's giddy Yoda too. When he let the temple on fire, he's like,
yeah.
And
he's back to senile Dagobah Yoda, that we saw in Return of the Jedi and Empire. And
well, some people post the argument that, Yoda he shouldn't have been goofy, because in Empire, he was goofy at the beginning, but he was testing Luke.
Right.
But to me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because he was old,
Yeah.
He had that in him, and it was so neat to have them reunite, and he still called him young Skywalker, and it was such a treat. And I almost thought other people were going to show up too, but I was okay with just Yoda, because it was such a great thing. And I don't understand some people's criticism on this, but like, Yoda summoned lightning. Like, isn't that great though? They're expanding because the whole Force Ghost thing is really vague.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen it for a long time.
Yeah, we don't know what they can or can't do.
Not even in the prequels we saw it. Except at the end when it was referred to Qui-Gon mastered the...
Yeah, he found a way to, commune.
Right.
After death and stuff like that. So,
but that sets up Luke coming back, because that's his great line to Kylo before he leaves. See you around, kid.
Yeah.
And that he's going to torment him. It's so awesome.
Same line that his dad said to Luke.
Yeah.
Back in the original trilogy. See you around, kid.
Right.
That sort of thing. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
But, Luke's going to haunt Kylo.
That's great. And he's probably going to mentor Rey in a way. I wish we got the most action out of Luke when him and Rey threw down. I think. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen. That's my only thing. Like, again, though, it's like, we love to see these things, but they're predictable at the same time.
Right.
It's kind of neat. They just say, we know you want this, but we're going to do this.
Right.
And, it's a move. And because if they just gave you everything, I still think you criticize the hell out of it, saying, "Oh, this is just too much of a rehash." But also,
and then it's too predictable, and it's not as enjoyable.
And also, Hamill's in his 50s, 60s, whatever. I still think he can move pretty good.
Yeah,
we got more of a character performance more than action out of him, and I think we had those great moments where, he was an old hermit type old dude,
like Yoda.
Right.
Like Obi-Wan.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are like, that's not my Luke Skywalker. But like, okay, if we were picking up right after Jedi, I get that criticism. Totally. They had those flashbacks throughout the film where, there's two different sides to how Kylo destroyed the temple Luke built. And I don't know if they ever really came to an understanding of what exactly happened. Right. But I like to think Luke didn't lie.
Yeah, you just saw two versions of what happened.
Right. I mean, it shows why Kylo, and you kind of understand why, because basically Luke, for a split second, thought about killing Kylo Ren. Yeah. Because he just sensed pure evil. So it was not going to, Kylo's just a bad guy. Like, I don't think you could turn him. He's just evil. So he lit up his lightsaber, and it was a green one from Jedi, which was really cool. And you got a good flashback, and you got two sides of that story. Yeah. And of course, Luke's is, I thought about it for a split second. I didn't go ahead with it. And man, Hamill's a great actor. Yeah. Like, he's a great voice actor, but he is bringing something more than he ever had before. And that's what people, I think, I agree with criticism saying this is the best Luke Skywalker performance, because
exactly, by far. He's
tearing up in that when he recounts about killing Kylo, and then Kylo looks at him and he's like, no. And Kylo sends him out of the shack they were in or whatever.
It pulls it down on top of
it. And of course, Kylo's side is evil Luke. He's just got,
he's getting ready to kill him.
Yeah. And he's just got, just a menacing look. And that was just, that was really cool. I think Hamill really, he was superb. And I noticed it more the second time, like with Rey, he did get to like Luke levels, but he didn't get back to who he was before until he saw like Chewie and R2-D2
and Yoda.
Yes. And R2-D2 playing the old message from Princess Leia. And he's like, cheap shot. Yeah. Watch your language. Yeah. Him being on the Falcon again. Yeah. I would have loved to have him that's the thing. Yes, I would love him to be on the Falcon, but again, it's so predictable. Like, you just predict the whole movie, and it's like, is that what you really want, or do you want something new? Yes, it's not going to be pleasing because,
I'll take new all day
you wanted old Luke, and that's the thing. Luke is 30 years older than he was before. Yeah. He fulfilled a prophecy. It really deals with what do you do after that? He thought he was the legend. Yeah. He bought into that. Yeah. And that's what destroyed things for him.
Right. And he thought he was a legend. It was supposed to go a certain way. And then when it didn't, it's like, well, what are you supposed to believe anymore?
Right.
And here we are.
Right.
Fast forward, Last Jedi.
He took Kylo when he was, when Luke was, I am the legend. I'm going to train new Jedis, which everyone was like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you? He takes Kylo and 12 other students. And I thought that was interesting. 12 other students, meaning Kylo was the 13th. Yeah. Getting back to that crap, I could be reading too much into it, but I think that's one thing a lot of people want to see is the Knights of Ren. Right. I do too. I think that would be great to introduce in the next film. Yeah. I did count those guards the second time, wondering if that was them. Oh. But I was 2-3 short, so I'm like, that'd be kind of dumb. Maybe but not, they were skillful. But very. Yeah. Yeah, I loved all the scenes on the planet he was on, Luke was on. Yeah, the whole planet was interesting. The caretakers, and were you grossed out by the milk scene?
No, I thought it was hilarious, to be honest with you.
People are like, oh, that's so gross. Why would he do that?
Yeah, that's funny. Well, you know what? I don't see a convenience store for him to go buy a gallon of freaking milk. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And so he gets his fish dinner too. I mean, that was a cool scene, I thought this is how he survived. This is, it was a good way to advance how does he survive being on this island for this long? Right. Well, that's how.
And the caretakers weren't too fond of Rey.
Yeah, which was funny. Great.
Because she didn't mean to, but, she tried to blast Kylo and he wasn't there, and she broke the HUD down a little bit.
Yeah, it blows a hole through the wall. And so they're ticked off because they have to fix it. Yeah. And then she accidentally cuts that rock with a lightsaber when she's practicing.
Yeah.
And it falls down and destroys one of their carts as they're pushing it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought those were cute.
They
Those
look
were
up
funny.
and she's got the lightsaber and she turns it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another reason for them to hate her guts.
The Chewie scene with the porgs, which was
Yeah.
kind of like, it was funny, but it was also like, oh, Chewie, why? Why'd
Yeah.
you do that? Some people were like, oh, he just found a dead one. Like, okay, he probably didn't, but whatever.
He
But,
hunted it. He's Chewy.
you know, when they were looking at him as he had a fried one in his hand, I kind of wanted him to take a bite still.
I know, right?
I was like, that would be really bad, but it kind of be funny. And, you know, of course they just, you know, they took over that whole Falcon, started populating, and that was funny at the end. You know, that was for the kids more, I think, and I don't think it was too goofy, honestly.
It wasn't too goofy because it was really minimal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was just enough to make you kind of laugh. Like when Chewie roars and then they pan over and the Porg does his little roar, you know, I mean, it was funny, you know, that was what was in the previews and,
well, I think that
they didn't overdo it.
Chewie was, I think Chewie was anybody who didn't like these things because, you know, I was annoyed by them and he knocked them off the console and
He liked
stuff.
him enough to let him come.
Yeah.
But he's like, this is still my ship.
It wasn't like a Jar Jar thing where he like looked to him for philosophy or whatever, you know. I don't think you can compare them to that. And
No, it's not even close.
maybe Ewoks, but I don't hate Ewoks that much. I don't know. Do you get the hate for Ewoks? Like, would you love to see Ewoks again? Or no, you don't. Well, you know, it meant to be a all Wookiee planet, but the budget, they just couldn't do it at the time.
Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
The Wookiee planet. Well, that would have been cool to me. But, so the Ewoks, I don't know. I saw this thing online where people born after a certain date and people born before a certain date divided the line between loving and hating Ewoks.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. The only time I've ever really liked the Ewoks is when I play the my Star Wars game on my phone.
You can kill them?
No, well, you have some that you could use.
Yeah.
And they've got some pretty useful skills.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
Right.
I didn't hate them. I just didn't like them.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's neat.
And honestly, it all surrounded towards the end scene. You know, with the whole goofy dancing and the, you know, it's just like, all right. Teddy Bearville, and you know, we're all gonna just hang out. This is just too cutesy.
Right.
Now, had Steve at the age of Star Wars when it came out saw it, probably wouldn't have cared about it, thought it was cool.
Like, I want that.
Right, but I mean, at the time when Jedi came out, what year did that come out? 85 or 6?
I think it was 83. I think
83.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm 14 years old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you're
you
like,
know,
what the?
I'm like, seriously, stop it. You know, enough.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. You know, they brought back the Force Ghosts. Not to say those didn't work before, but they brought back things, and it's interesting to see what more they can bring back, and if people will buy it. But what do you think of Laura Dern's character?
I thought at first I wasn't really sold on her.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep.
I'm like, she's just, I don't know, this is the wrong lady for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Poe, get her out of there, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it turned out she was quite the right person for the job. And the way she goes out was,
oh my gosh,
just amazing.
That was awesome.
I mean, she sees what's happening. They were able to find the ships that were escaping, and they were destroying almost all of them. And she turned the cruiser around, had just enough fuel to do one jump to hyperspace, and she did it into the dreadnought.
Yeah.
You know, and destroyed it, and it was just, that was phenomenal.
And a crucial scene because Finn and Rose are about ready to get cut up.
Yeah.
Kylo and Rey broke apart Luke's lightsaber, and that scene was beautiful. It was silence.
Yeah. And you know,
imagery.
I think we've gotten a little influence from Rogue One in this movie, where, you know, showing the reality of war.
Yeah.
You know, and that sort of, I mean, because we saw another guy in the beginning of the movie sacrifice himself on a ship.
Right.
You know, and then we saw Laura Dern's character do the exact same thing. You know, it's not always the happy ending for people, and there's consequences.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and Rogue One was a primary driver of really driving that home to us.
Yes.
When all the main characters, the good guys, all die.
Right.
Right. I mean, and so I thought that was cool. I thought that was really amazing.
It was a great scene.
It was a great scene.
It was great.
And she was awesome, man.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen more from her, but what a great performance.
Yeah, the whole Poe where he's just like they're almost going to win. They're almost going to, his plan's almost going to work, and he's got Finn on the line. They're like, "Hey, we were here, ready to do it." They get captured, and then the door breaks open. It's Leia, and she blasts them, and
that was great.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, that was really cool, and how she really helped bring him back down. Do you feel like they should have shared that plan with him, or they just wanted to keep it so tight knit?
I think they should have kept it tight knit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were doing what they...
Obviously, we wouldn't have a story if he knew everything. I think that's also some other people need to realize, like, you don't have a movie. Like, if Luke was on board with Rey...
Well, and honestly,
let's go!
Poe Dameron is being looked at as a leader now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Leia always wanted from him. And part of leadership is to be able to trust your leaders.
Yes.
And so they don't have to always give everyone the plans. They have to trust in what they're doing. And Poe wasn't doing that.
Right.
And, his lesson was that he should have.
Right.
And then we saw him grow into his moment at the end of the movie,
Sure.
And so it was, I thought the plot development was strongest for him in the whole film.
Right.
Just because of how, that underlying sequence of failure into success lied, and that was pretty cool.
I loved Finn and Phasma, the fight scene.
That was really cool.
I wish Phasma, I still think they didn't give her due entirely. I think there's a book out there, another book, of course, goes into more of her story.
Yeah.
It's so weird because she's a big actress. She's in Game of Thrones.
Brienne of Phasma.
Yes. So, were you satisfied? Well, first off, do you think she died?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. I could see it both ways.
I could see it both ways, but I feel like she probably did.
Right. Like, I want to see more, so that's why.
Unquestionably, I would like to see more because she's great.
But I loved how, like, Finn threw down. Like, I don't understand people's criticisms of Finn being like this klutz and this like wuss of a character. Like, he's not a wuss. I mean, I guess he was trying to escape earlier on in the show or the movie, he wanted Rey to be safe and he wanted to go to a safe place. So yeah, I guess that was probably the low point, but he just came out of like a coma.
But his heart was still in the right place.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. He wasn't just a deserter. He was actually,
I'm sure you have 1,000 questions. And when he woke up, he only had one question.
Yeah.
Where's Rey?
Which is our great introduction to where's Rey? And then we pick up like right where, and some people are like, well, that's weird because Finn he wasn't in healing that much. Like, well, we don't even know how long it took Rey to get there.
Right.
Or how, that's the thing. You have to forgive some of that stuff. But yeah, I thought that was a great for him and Phasma to go, toe to toe.
That shows how brave he is, even though he might not be the most skilled.
Right.
Like as far as a fighter and all those things.
Yeah.
I mean, and it establishes the fact that he's not that skilled. I mean, he was the janitor.
Yeah.
He was a stormtrooper, and that was about as skilled as he got. He didn't have any life experience outside of being a little kid and being grown up into the system.
Exactly.
It's like a Scientologist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it's like. And he, now he's out in the open and stuff, and everything's still new to him.
Right, he's still discovering who he is because he was not given,
and he's still awkward on occasions, and it's just really funny. I mean, I think he did a great job.
Well, look at Han
role.
Solo. I mean, all these great characters we loved had the same traits, and to be like, oh, that's stupid. Like,
Finn's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I mean, look at Hope, where Han Solo runs to take on these two stormtroopers.
Comes around the corner and there's a ton of them.
And he's like,
He takes off and runs back the other way.
Right, yeah. I mean, all that stuff is like, you got to remember that stuff.
If that was released today, that scene with Han Solo, people would freak out saying, that's not the Han Solo I grew up with. And they would have just cried their eyes out because, no one's happy unless they're bitching.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, it's like, this isn't good enough. Like, well, I think it is, it doesn't do everything you want it to do, but that's kind of what movies are
Very
about.
few movies do.
Yeah.
And if they do, well, how much are you going to rewatch it? I mean, and, if there is a sequel or something, are you going to go be excited to see it because it's going to be so predictable? I don't know. These same people will be back for the next one. They will.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, they might have their doubts. And this film, I mean, it's just times we live in. It's so ridiculous. This film, Last Jedi, is going to make over $1 billion before it's out of the theaters. And people are like, oh, it didn't make as much as the previous. And it's like, why does that have to be a flop?
Right.
$1 billion? Come on now.
Not a flop.
The whole new franchise, since Disney's gotten it, is now grossed $4 billion, I think.
Which is the cost of what they paid Lucas for.
Yeah. So it's like,
now that's not all profit yet, of course, but at the same time,
right,
it's gonna be.
Yeah. Right.
They're gonna get their money back.
Yeah.
And it's worth the investment because not only are they gonna get their money back, but it's their property. They'll be doing Star Wars movies and stuff like that long after we're dead.
Right.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that lasts a long time.
Right. Exactly. That, that is hard to, that is hard to know. Like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to see all this stuff.
I know it's hard to fathom, but it's true. I mean, it's, and we're in a society where, we like delving into these universes and, maybe at some point something fizzles out, but then, they'll reignite it at some point later down the road, and
exactly.
We're talking about years and years and years and years down the line,
right.
And so it's it's a machine, and it's a juggernaut that's virtually unstoppable, and it's amazing, and you and I have both talked about how we like Star Trek better because we're bigger Trek fans.
Mm-hmm.
Trek is more fleshed out, I mean,
they're explorers.
And if we had, multiple series of Star Wars TV and things of that nature, well, I might sing a different tune, but all we have are these movies and, some of the books and the comics and those things. And I love Star Wars. I really love Star Trek, so I mean, it's apples and oranges, because they're both amazing. And this one, now we're getting more things fleshed out on Star Wars.
Right.
And it makes it more interesting.
Sure.
So I thought it was phenomenal. Anybody who is complaining, they're doing it for the sake of complaining.
Right.
All they want to do is be part of a movement of, I was with this whole crowd of naysayers, we're in Hipsterville, where the only cool thing to do is to say something isn't cool. And I know I'm old and they're not, but I also make a lot more money than those people.
Right. So, there you go. Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah. I'm more of a Trek fan too, but I don't think we'll ever have it. We'll never have that experience that Star Wars gives us in the theater, sadly, because it's just weird. Star Wars just has that. I mean, of course, someday we could, if we get like great back-to-back films, you know, but they have to be epic and really not like Star Trek. They have to be more like wars,
right?
Which people complain about, and I get that. But yeah, I totally recognize Star Wars as an experience piece, really, and it's always fun to go see it. I love them both, and yeah, it's always an experience, and the crowd reacts. It was really great the first time I saw it because it was like sold out.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about that. Oh, it took a dive the second weekend. Like, well, other things came out, and everyone practically in the world went to go see it the first weekend. So.
I saw it on Christmas Day with my family the second time I saw it.
Yeah.
And that's over a week, about a week and a half into the release. And the IMAX theater was sold out, and I couldn't get tickets to the other theaters because there was maybe one or two seats open, in every single one. So, I don't buy that, it just fizzled out completely. It's making no money right now. Yeah, bullshit.
So I have, I know we've gone long, but I got two things myself I want to bring up. And of course, if you, whatever else you got. One is I loved the Falcon scene at the end where, they're pretty much the rebels are like screwed pretty much. They're like, they're backed in a corner. They can't get out of this cave, this base they're in. There's only one way out, apparently. And Finn and Poe and Rose are on these old rustic ships.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the other criticisms, like, there's a lot of language in this film, but I mean, it's not like F words or anything, but Poe, like he steps on a pedal or whatever in his ship and the bottom comes out, like that part where his foot is, and he's like, what the hell, or something.
Yeah.
Big ass. He says big ass door a lot. And, but that was really neat to see those, like, they're barely holding on with these ships, but that's all we got. It's all we got. And, the Falcon comes over, you see the shadow.
Oh yeah.
And then just the root. And it's really powerful. Like that ship is the best
it's
ship.
Iconic.
Yeah. If it ever gets destroyed, people are going to just lose it.
I'll lose it.
Yeah. Right. There's so much,
Yeah. Even though I have a higher degree of Star Trek stuff, you know, the Millennium Falcon is my favorite ship.
Right.
Of any movie.
Yes.
Ever. You know,
Exactly.
and so, it's done so many cool things, and it's iconic. It's a character into itself.
Right. And, how the TIE fighters, when that ship appears, TIE fighters go crazy and go after it. And Rey goes, they hate that ship.
Yeah.
I love that line. That was so good. And I thought for sure Rey was going, or I'm sorry, Finn.
Finn said that, yeah.
Yes. These names are kind of similar, but they're not. But
right.
Yeah, Finn said that line about, oh yeah, they hate that ship. And yeah, Finn was ready to sacrifice himself.
Oh yeah.
For that blaster. I thought he was going to do it.
I thought he was going to do it as well.
Came so close.
And I thought, this is another reason why I love this character.
Yeah.
He grew up First Order, had a huge change of heart, and this is a guy who genuinely wants to do something good.
And how is that a goofy character?
It's not a goofy character.
He's brave.
Yeah.
He's so brave.
It's just another reason for someone to complain.
Like he tried to run in the beginning, and something kept calling him back. And he loves his friends and what side he's on. And
when he was trying to quote unquote run in this movie, it wasn't he was running from a fight. He was running to save Rey,
right,
and to make sure she was safe. It wasn't like he was running because he was the reason he was in the Force Awakens. It's too big. You can't fight him. He's just going to get out of here. And, that was a different reason this time.
Of course.
And so it was, he's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I thought for sure. And of course, Rose comes in, risks her life, gets him out of there.
Yeah.
Because, he's starting to cook. Well, he's not cooking yet, but his whole ship is like melting. And I'm like, this is it. And it's like, oh, I don't want this to happen, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but wow, this is something.
What a way to go.
Like, he's going out doing what he wants to do. And of course, Rose, says we have to save love or
save the ones that we love or something like
she
that.
She kisses him. I don't know if he feels the same way towards her, but
I don't know. I've heard complaints that the Finn Rey relationship, would have been cool to see from a romantic standpoint, because it'd be an interracial relationship for starters, and a movie like this would be huge, and so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
I just see them. I just think it was set up so well in the first one about they're just really good friends. Like, I think he wants more, but I think he's also fine with just being friends.
Yeah,
there are a lot of people saying since Rey met Poe, there was some magic there because that's the first time they really met.
Right.
So that was kind of interesting, but also I think that's so damn predictable. Like, why do they have to be with anybody?
They don't have to at all.
Rose could have just kissed him to kiss him to show love.
Right.
She was in pain and maybe she wanted, she thought she was going to die and thought, I'll kiss this guy. She's pretty much in Finn's position and at the end of this film, she's just recovering.
Yeah. And even Leia's kisses to Luke back in the first movies that were, you feel like they were creepy. They weren't playing tonsil hockey. I mean, they were just a long kiss.
Well, and I'm certain that they didn't, that sister thing was added, just to have another shocker.
I think it was too.
But it was like, wait a minute. Which I'm surprised Lucas didn't take that out.
I know, right?
Right. But yeah, of course, I don't know. Do you have any other moments you want to talk about?
No, I mean, just the visual imagery in this movie was really cool.
Yeah.
My daughter loved the ice foxes and the dogs or whatever.
Yeah, mine did too. She's like, what are they? Like, well, they're not real.
Right.
But they're all, I think they're all puppets. And
yeah. But they were cool, man. And, but so much of this movie just visually, it's a Star Wars movie. It's going to be visually stunning.
Right.
The music's incredible. The music tells as much of a story as the actual plot,
Sure.
And it's, it was a phenomenal experience. I recommend it to anyone.
What a way for Carrie Fisher to go out. I mean, she had a much bigger performance because I was afraid it was going to be like Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And it wasn't at all. And like, it almost was like destined, like this is going to be the last we see of her.
In loving memory of our princess.
Yes, that was great too.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful, touching scene. And her daughter, Billie Lourd, had a lot of screen time in this one.
A lot of screen time,
some lines.
and,
Yes.
yeah. So I hope she gets to stick with it.
I am pretty sure she will. And yeah, that's, it's very tragic, but beautiful at the same time. You know, Rey has that moment with Leia, and she's holding the broken lightsaber, and she's like, how can we go on? I think that's what she said. And Leia's like, we have all we need. And you have the whole rest of the rebels. I think there might be more, hopefully. I don't know. But looks like there isn't. In the Falcon.
Yeah.
Like in the ship that has been in, well, not the prequels, thankfully, because that would have been like, why?
A ship was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but we don't know if it was the Falcon.
Yeah, of
but
course.
It was the same model.
Of course.
Just a little tiny Easter egg, but there was nothing
Exactly.
significant at all.
Right. I think I remember that being talked about. Because, I think the Falcon was even an old ship when Han had it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's been around.
That ship's been around the block a
yeah,
lot.
of course. There is something very interesting. I just remembered this. The planet they go to, and forgive me, I don't know the name of the planet. I mean, it's hard to know all these names and stuff, but the Casino Planet, which is what I call it, that was originally going to be ran by Lando.
Yeah.
But sadly, I think the truth is Billy D. Williams isn't quite charismatic as he used to be.
Yeah.
The older guy, and I for one saw him a couple years ago at our con here in Des Moines. Wasn't all there. Like, I don't know if he's just amped up on painkillers or what, but something's off. And it's sad, but they were talking about him being the code breaker or running that planet.
Yeah.
Because I guess some people thought maybe the guards look similar to Cloud City. And
yeah,
it sucks. I wish we could see him again somehow, some way. Yeah.
But if he can't do it, he can't do it.
Right.
You know, I get that too. Yeah. You know, I mean, it would be nice, but, you know, whatever.
I know it's unfortunate, but we have Donald Glover playing a younger version in the Han Solo film coming out very soon, earlier this year.
That'll be cool.
Directed by Ron Howard.
Yep.
So it'd be very interesting. I've heard, I don't know. I hope they're bogus headlines, but they're like, oh, Disney's preparing for their first flop. Because all the drama that went behind this Solo film, but. I don't know. I just hope they handle him getting the Falcon and meeting Chewie. I hope that's all handled just right, not forced, you know? Right. Like, I think the prequels did that too much.
He won it from Lando.
Yeah.
You know? So, that would be really neat. It would be cool, you know?
Yeah. So, so it's what's great about this. You get to constantly go back to before everything and forward. So, I mean, it's a great time, but a confusing time, I guess, because it's like, why the armor change? Oh, yeah. We're many years behind or in front.
It'll be interesting to see how this next movie plays out. You know, I mean, now that Carrie Fisher's gone, you know, part of me would like to see them open up with a funeral. You know, like something happened in between movies.
People wanted a Han funeral too,
right?
So yeah,
but in this one, it makes more sense. You know, just because we saw Han Solo die,
right?
We're not seeing Carrie Fisher die. You know, so I mean, something like that I think would be interesting. You know, and that's how you open up the next one. Maybe, I don't know.
I think you could simply I think they could open up with a funeral, and just she died from her injuries. Like she wasn't fully recovered, so she lived long enough to have a purpose one last time to give Poe leadership, and I think maybe her death will help bring more people to the front.
Yeah.
I was really bummed. Again, that wasn't predictable when they sent out that distress call. No one responded to it. Even using her personal code. And it's like,
all you were thinking was, it's just a matter of time before a bunch of guys come in and it's going to be a huge fight.
And who knows? Signal might have jammed. We don't know. But I think that's what's unique about this film. And people will argue against that, of course. But I just think it's a good installment. Yeah, it kind of shut down a lot of things J.J. Abrams brought to the table. But he's directing the next one, so he could do the same with Rian Johnson's material, especially with Rey's parents and,
Well, and that's open, because, again, it's open to interpretation, I mean, Kylo Ren could certainly be lying about that.
He's trying to turn her.
Right, because in the first movie, it's obvious that she's something to some people.
Right, of course. Yeah, so I Can't say enough about the film. I can't wait to own it and watch the hell out of it.
I know, man. And all the actors did such a great job.
Yeah, it's best it's ever been, I think. And yeah, it's not the original trilogy, but
And if you don't like Rey as a hero, I don't think I like you as a person.
yeah, all right.
You know, I mean, she's just phenomenal, very believable, and you know, she
trained so hard. Like I watched
really
the behind
did.
the scenes. Like man, I felt weak. You know, just watching her workouts. But man, she picked up on so many things, and yeah, just the acting, the talent, and I think it's a great time. I think you just need to have faith, and I think a lot of this stuff people won't like now, but I think it will age well.
Yeah,
I believe, and you know, for the new generation, this is going to be their original trilogy feeling, and then you know, down the road they'll be
kids today will be the ones saying how amazing this was,
right.
And you know, and that's awesome. You know, every generation has their own. You know, I've tried so hard to make them all something that I love, and you know, it's very hard in the prequels, obviously.
Yes,
but man, I've loved Force Awakens, and I love this movie. You know, so I mean, it's I just think people got to open their minds up a little bit more.
I think
we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, they just need to remember where this came from. The original trilogy, like the original trilogy was great, but it wasn't like masterpiece cinema. Like there are issues with the original trilogy too. Just like there's issues with this film. Nothing's really changed. Right. It's just a different...
They hold all these characters in reverence, but they all did stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
I'm going to Toshi Station and buy some power converters.
Right, and they have fun with that.
We all wanted to slap Luke in the face when he said that. You know, Han Solo and the, you know, how are you? You know, and bring in the humor and stuff. And, you know, apparently it's only acceptable then. It's not acceptable now. So and
a lot of people
it's a lot of hypocrisy.
Exactly. And a lot of people say that's what hurt the prequels is there was no like Han Solo like character.
Right.
Because Harrison Ford was like, he told George a long time ago, you can write this shit, but you can't say it.
Right.
And so you miss that element with someone going like, can you believe this?
Right.
It's so serious.
The absolute closest was Obi-Wan in parts.
Yes.
You know, Ewan McGregor, I think... And even Liam Neeson, I think they both did phenomenal jobs in their roles,
right?
You know, and
bring us an Obi-Wan movie.
I would watch that so fast with him.
He's eager to do it.
Oh, bring him back.
He was the best of the prequels.
Yeah, let's roll. You know, I mean,
yeah, that would be a great filler.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna kill off cool villains like Darth Maul, like in one movie, and you know things like that. I mean, Ewan McGregor was great.
He could still have missions. We just never saw him. Yeah, it might be a stretch a little bit, but...
There's a Darth Maul fan film out there.
Is there? Okay, cool.
I will send it to you.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Sweet.
Incredible. So I'll send that over to you.
Awesome. That is awesome. I mean, it's a great universe. It really is, and... I think people just need to calm the hell down. There was a petition that someone started to remove this from canon.
Get a life.
Yeah. Well, I think he woke up and he took it down. But
did he?
Yeah.
Good.
As far as I know, he did. Yeah. I don't think he realized it caught so much backlash, but it's just stupid.
I still want to send him to an island where he can't get it away from.
I just don't. I think people just need to calm down and... Just, you know, these films, I mean, they were created out of the old 30s serials, really. Yeah. Those aren't, like, looked upon like, these are the greats, you know. But
they're mostly forgotten about.
But they're entertaining. And, yeah, every film's got flaws. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm not overly in love with this film, but that's their vision. And it's not a prequel bad.
Oh, no. Book. Not even close.
Yeah, because prequels are like, what the hell did I just see?
Right.
And I didn't feel that way at all. I just had conflicts like, I don't know if I really love this or just, I don't know.
Well, you know, with the prequels, I would walk away thinking, man, I hated so much of this movie and I loved so much of this movie. And that's why I was pissed off.
Right.
It's like, man, Ewan McGregor is great. You know, Liam Neeson was great.
Yeah.
You know, this little kid, seriously, it just, you know, what's going on here? And...
Kill him. No.
And the mom. I mean, just stop.
Oh, I
Midichlorians, no. But then, you know, you have Darth Maul, and you have there's so many
elements.
Yeah, there were so many cool elements, and then there were so many and that's, I think, what the frustrating thing with the prequels was for me.
Right.
Was that it couldn't balance the good with the bad, because it was mostly bad, but there was enough good sprinkled in there that you're like, what the hell? You know, why couldn't this have...
Well, Lucas had full control too, which he didn't before, and that with Hope he did, but the other ones he had different directors and writers, so you needed those elements.
Yeah.
And to think that you can take it all on is just a little too much.
A little too much, and you need people around you that can reel you in sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe for 2018 we can maybe watch some of those prequels. We are due for some commentaries.
We haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we got many goals for 2018. Yeah, I hope everyone out there has a great rest of the 2017.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next year for sure. Won't party too much, hopefully.
I'm not doing another podcast till next year. I don't care how many times you call. It's just not going to happen.
I'll just call you and I'll have you recording. You won't even know it.
There you go.
Be a conversation. So, yeah, and we'll also pick up on our Star Trek Discovery podcast again, because that will launch the second half of the show. So we got like 3 episodes we got to catch up on, but I think we can all do it in one show.
Maybe
and
just a recap.
Just have a little fun with it, you know.
I can't wait for that to come back.
Yeah, it's exciting. It feels like it's been off forever.
It feels like that, yeah, for sure.
I like the mid-season cliffhangers and all that. So,
Quick recommendations before we
go
sign
for
off.
it. Yeah.
Travelers on Netflix. Season 2 just came out on December 26th.
Great.
Season 1 was phenomenal. I'm 3 episodes into season 2, and I'm going to be very sad when it's over. It's amazing. It's basically time travelers from the future come back to the past. They have specific missions and protocols they cannot violate, and they can execute these missions and nothing else. Chaos ensues. Incredible. And the acting's amazing. The direction's amazing. The cinematography's amazing. It's just great. And then Winona Earp on Netflix. The season 1 is out on that for Netflix. It's been out for a while.
Okay.
I'm going to call it delightfully stupid. It's clearly not meant to be anything but fun, and
sure,
but it's good. There's about 3 or 4 things every episode I just roll my eyes at, and I'm like, stop it. But it's still so fun that I can't stop watching it. So,
what is that one about?
So it's basically Winona Earp is her great grandfather is Wyatt Earp.
Okay,
and everybody that Wyatt Earp has killed keeps coming back as like a zombie, not necessarily a zombie, but like as a demon.
Whoa, okay,
and
that's interesting.
And only his gun can send them back to hell permanently. And each member of the Earp line is like a chosen one to do this. Well, she's the chosen one now, and she has his gun, and she's putting him down when she can, but it's really interesting. It is, it's a little dumb, but it's also got a fun cast.
Sure.
The episodes are fun. It's based off of a comic book. But yeah, I'm having a lot more fun than I thought I would watching it, and
cool.
But it isn't gonna win anything, but it's pretty fun to watch. So Travelers, Winona Earp, a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, there is. Netflix has got a lot of great things to offer. The Doctor Who Christmas special came out. I still haven't seen that. I did watch the transformation scene on YouTube. Anxious to see that.
Yeah.
I still Punisher.
Yes.
Which we, forgive us, we haven't talked much about, but man, I love that show. I thought it was really good, and I thought it really tackled PTSD issues with our troops. And
as great as the Netflix Marvel stuff is, because it is all great.
Sure.
Punisher's the best, in
my
my opinion.
That was done very well.
It's just amazing. Incredible TV. And again, my wife, who usually doesn't care about any of that stuff, couldn't get enough of the Punisher. And that's when you're pulling someone like that in, who likes, Victorian England period pieces. Well done.
Right. Yeah, I'm really anxious to get reviews from like veterans about what they felt. I mean, obviously it wasn't all about veteran. I mean, the PTSD did have a good storyline in it and addressed it, but obviously it's a fictional show.
Right.
But I just found it really interesting. Like they really went there.
Well, they introduced a lot of realistic elements to that, and it would be interesting to see people's thoughts on it. And,
sure. It was a great take on the Punisher. John Barenthal really bringing it. Yeah, I can't say enough. Maybe we'll do a show on it, talk more about it, what we felt. There are a few shows we need to do that for still. We'll be back with more great content.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I'm Josh.
I'm Steve.
May the Force be with you. Take care.